You know, I've been sort of nervous today. Everywhere I went, I thought I seen people watching and staring at me. And I don't blame them. Very seldom you get to see a good-looking guy walking the streets. But I said, do you have a question for me? And they all said, Ox, I know you've never been beaten in the state of Ohio, but what are you doing here? Well, you know, I'm almost like a talent scout. I go all over the world. I discovered the new Indian for Vince McMahon in the state of Connecticut. I found a couple of superstars. I found a new German. You know, the Von Erichs have gone. And wrestling is looking for a new German. I'm always searching for talent. Now, I have found out in the past a lot of great wrestlers come from the state of Ohio. If you remember back, there was Chief White Owl. He's probably one of the greatest Indians of all time. He never made it to New York, but he stayed like here in Ohio. There's been a lot of great wrestlers come from the state of Ohio. The Sheik was here, and as you well know, the greatest manager of all times in wrestling, the Grand Wizard, was from Ohio. So there's a lot of talent here. Now, I have just heard about a guy called the Mountain Man, 410 pounds. I heard of a big colored gentleman, 400 pounds. I'm looking for this new talent, so I'm looking around, and I might sit down sometime and see if you watched wrestling in the last few days or the last few months and find out if there's any great talent here. Now, again, I want to tell you folks, Ox Baker still got his hand wrapped. If you check out the wrestling history, one hold in wrestling has never been copied by anybody. There's 20 guys who use the sleeper hold. There's 15 guys who use the figure four. There's so many guys using hold, but only one guy, and that's the guy you're looking at right now, Ox Baker, uses the heart punch. Nobody has copied it. Two guys died in the ring taking the heart punch. Ernie Ladd caused the greatest riot in the history of wrestling. He took the heart punch, wouldn't go down the first 2 or 3 punches, but the fourth one, when I hit him, he did go down, and the next thing I knew is a chair hit me over the head, 23 stitches in my head. They said, "You're trying to kill Big Ernie Ladd." And all I said was, like, when I hit you with a heart punch, you will go down. Now, folks, if you see me shopping around, checking talent out, because Ox Baker is copying the great manager, the Grand Wizard, I'm actually a manager at this here time, and I'm looking for new talent because I want to manage them. And like I said, all the guys they have in the WWE been there 3 or 4 years. There's time for new talent. They had Mr. Wonderful, they had Mr. Perfect, and now Ox Baker's discovered a gentleman that beat the world arm wrestling. I call him Mr. Powerful. I got this new German. People, there's no place for, there's been a place for a German wrestler since the history of wrestling. New York and Ohio has always had a tough Indian. Years ago, if you know your wrestling history, there was a young man that became an Indian wrestler. There was Chief Big Heart. There's Chief White Owl. There was Chief Jay Strombo. There's always been a great Indian, and I'm trying to discover. I have one right now, but I'm looking for an Indian wrestler, because what I want to do, I only manage the best. I don't manage the second best, like the third greatest manager of all time, Gary Hart. He wouldn't manage anybody. And the first Indian wrestler was Don Eagle. He was what a fantastic performer he was. Had a tragic end. But I'm looking for an Indian wrestler. And folks, if you know some Indian that likes to wrestle, he needs a great manager, like the Grand Wizard. Now you got the fantastic Ox Baker looking for talent. And I'm in Ohio right now, so if you walk in and see me walking the streets, I'm looking around. If you see me at the wrestling matches, no matter where they're at, I'll be in the audience, because I'm always watching, always looking for new talent, because, you know, one thing about wrestling, no matter what happens, a lot of people say, it never gets old. People got to be entertained. In this day and age, we have all this crime, all these things. People need that entertainment, and wrestling. First sport on TV. I don't know if you know the history. The first sport on TV was professional wrestling. And here it is 50 years, and still the #1 sport, draws more people than anything, is professional wrestling. And who's always been in it? Some manager or some guy. So if you have a talent, let me know, and I'll watch them, and maybe one day you'll see me manage them. Thank you, and have a good night.